So my family went to Disney World, and this was really right before things fell apart. Things were being held together. I mean, this was really, when you look back, it's really after things fell apart, but before, the consequences of that. It's what it really is. They were at the table at the Grand Floridian character breakfast, and I remember it. And I remember my father shoving what I imagine was a competently cooked egg in his mouth because it is a nice hotel. And I remember he looked at my mother and he goes, "Will you shut the fuck up so these things will come over here?" He called them things, which, by the way, he is right about. He's absolutely right. Like, there was no romanticizing of what this place was, which I kind of now in hindsight appreciate. He wasn't like, "So Mickey will come over here." It was like, "So this thing," because it ain't Mickey. You don't know who is in that suit. Why has there never been a documentary about the dark side of Disney World? They are so powerful. Disney is so fucking powerful. Has there ever been a doc? Have you ever seen anything? I mean, maybe I'm wrong.
I think Banksy did that thing on it.
What did he do?
He went in there to the little children one, the It's a Small World After All.
It's a small world.
And he dressed a guy in a Guantanamo Bay outfit and he hung him or like a roller coaster. He like had a hanging Guantanamo Bay prisoner, and he did it with that Mr. Brainwash.
Yeah, Americans don't notice. They think it's great. "Look, there's a Gitmo prisoner. This is a good ride. I thought this ride was for faggots, but it's good. I thought A Small World was for faggots. I fought my wife, but I didn't know we were going to see Muslims get hung. This is great." That'll make it the most popular ride in the whole fucking place. They love it. Yeah, Banksy hung this Guantanamo Bay. Yeah, it was the longest line at the whole park. They're hanging Muslims in there. It's worth the wait. But my father and my mother took us to Disney World, and I remember it being fine. My mother was like, "We got a nap in the middle of the day, and then we'll go out at night," which is kind of a good idea. We did the morning, then we took a nap, because in the middle of the day, it's the hottest and the most crowded. So my mom is actually pretty smart, I mean, so she established that rule, but it's also tough to force a nap. Like, everyone's forcing a nap. It's tough, but it is a better system. It's just tough. Just tough at 1 p.m. when everybody else is at the park. We're going back to the room, and my mother's like, "Go to bed. Go to sleep." And then she made us go to Epcot. Nobody wants to go to fucking Epcot, but Epcot was not. I mean, we did go to a nice French restaurant. There are some nice restaurants in Epcot, The second time I returned to Disney World was, there's a movie called Noises Off. Sometimes I got to recommend these things to you people because many of you live in cultural wastelands. I can see that. You message me. Sometimes I'll friend you back, and I know that there's a movie called Noises Off with Michael Caine, John Ritter, Christopher Walken, Mary Lou Henner, fucking Carol Burnett. It's about a Broadway play that just falls apart every night and everybody hates each other. And it really gets close to what it is to be in any type of arts where everyone hates each other and everyone's a delusional psychopath who thinks they're essential. And Michael Caine has a line in this that I absolutely love. He's talking about how bad the play was. And he goes, "Nothing could prepare us." I think it was Cleveland. He goes, "Nothing could prepare us for Cleveland. It was the final horror." And I always remember the second time I went to Disney World was the final horror. I was in a dance troupe. So I was an actor. I was a thespian. I was an actor, and you had to learn how to dance and sing to be a child actor. So I was a tap dancer, and I was in a school in Long Island, New York called Legs. They're very creative in Long Island. Have we mentioned that? Have we touched on the limitless creativity and talent of those people? I think we have. Well, the school was called Legs, and I was chosen to be the Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy in the Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy dance number, which is a song, the Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy from Company B. And I was a little fat preteen, just starting to go through puberty, just starting to get my newly fat body. As my mother said to me once, she goes, "You're a mesomorph. You collect weight in your stomach." I'm like, well, how about we not eat fast food every night and watch television? Could any Could anyone suggest another course of action? Thank God for like Joe Rogan telling people how to be healthy. Thank God. Everything now is about the celebration of being 700 pounds and on 9 medications. Like, thank God that there are some people out there that go, maybe that's not the move, okay? So we go down there as a dance troupe. I'm the Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy. I don't know what you think when you think you're going to perform at Disney World. You probably imagine that there's going to be some magical, big theater, or like it's going to be at night. It's going to be well lit. There's going to be a lot of people that are excited to see you or whatever. They set up a stage by the bathrooms, and it was in the middle of the day, and it was dog heat, Florida humidity. Okay. And a lot of people in the dance troupe, because they were from Long Island, were a bit paunchy. Even the ladies, they were a bit paunchy. Okay. Not all of them, but some of them were, this wasn't exactly the top tier. This wasn't like winning the dance competitions. This was like the leftovers. Okay. And so that trip, we stayed at a hotel called the Dolphin. And I remember me and a bunch of fat chicks in Boogie Woogie Bugle Boy outfits. These were like tan military outfits, and they were hot, and we were sweating through them, even as children. We looked like a regiment of soldiers that the government would just try out like some, mind control drug on, like just the forgotten platoon of soldiers that like no one would even go back for. Like, leave them. They're all dead. Just say they're dead. We'll tell their parents they're dead, There was no Saving Private Ryan for this group. Tell you that much. If you took a look at us, we were done. And we would take a boat from the Dolphin to Disney World every day, and just chubby kids sweating through tan, weird military uniforms. And then we would go to this stage by the bathrooms and flail around in the heat, and fat tourists would stare at us while they were on the line for the bathroom, while they were choking down a churro, and they would just stare at us, and we would dance. And then afterwards, there was like very little clapping, which is so embarrassing. It was kind of like they were like, people were like, and then we would do it again like 5 minutes later. Then we would keep doing the same number. So we didn't have any other number. We keep doing the same number, and they had already seen it. So now like they would look away. Now they would now no one even had cell phones. So they couldn't even look at their phone. They were just literally staring at other things. And like we would be performing to people's backs to us. So that was a low point in my life that even Splash Mountain couldn't fix. Splash Mountain was fun. But I remembered as I was coming down Splash Mountain, I'm like, oh, this is life for most people. It's just drudgery and hell. And you get one moment of weightlessness where water is sprayed in your face. And then they hand you a picture and they go, get the fuck out. And that's what happened to us. So if you connect with Disney World, like some of my friends do, and they're good people, Jared Logan, a friend of mine who's a comedian, made a great point. He goes, Disney is the first culture that you're introduced to as a child, but it shouldn't be the last. We really were flirting today. What if we move the whole operation to Florida?
Why not?
What if we move the whole operation to sunny Florida? And I'm not talking about immediately, but eventually down the road. The prices in New York and LA they're a bit ridiculous. And when you look at, the bang for your buck, yeah, Florida's got negatives, sure. The bath salts, the eating of the faces. We get it. But I'm pretty sure that you could find places where that's not happening. And I don't know that when I was in Florida, I had a weird feeling. I was like, am I going to end up in Florida? My mother loved Florida. She was a fucking mermaid, a weeky-watchy mermaid. I mean, that's where I come from. I come from a woman who swam around in a tank in Florida. to entertain truckers because strip clubs weren't open. You know, they'd watch young women float around in a tank with fins on and then probably jerk off in their cars. That's where I come from, and I just wonder if that's where I'm going. There's something nice about Florida, 79 degrees. I mean, it's freezing in LA right now. There's something nice about it. And I'm looking at it's inexpensive. I think there's no income tax, or it's very low. You double fist all your fucking money down there. It just seems like maybe that's where I end up eventually. I don't know. Weigh in, people. Tell me if I'm crazy. Or is Florida the move? Build a studio in the house, travel, do live dates all around the country, and just live in Florida, maybe have a little apartment in New York, bounce around. You know, I'm not leaving LA anytime soon, but I'm just flirting with this idea. Florida. I don't know. It's where a lot of people go to give up, and that sounds nice. I won't be down there to give up. I'll still be funny, but you know, you can be funny from anywhere. Do the show from anywhere. Go on the road and entertain people from anywhere. Do I need to be in LA? You know, LA's canyon living doesn't appeal to me. I don't want to live in a canyon. You know, there's some beautiful homes in LA, but they're millions and millions and millions of dollars. The traffic is horrendous. I love the Comedy Store. I love a lot of my friends here. I love a lot of the comics here. That also, you know, that also doesn't justify you spending 7 times the amount of money on a home.
That you have to evacuate like 3 to 4 times a year because there's a fire just surrounding your house, you know?
Yeah, it's burning. It's literally on fire. So I wonder if down the road that's going to be a reality. And I mean, somewhere in the space of around 24 months and 2 years. I'm thinking if we build the show up enough, like, you know, do I stay forever in LA? I mean, if the weather in LA was great all year round, that would be one thing. It's just really not. And the people that have spent time here kind of know that it's kind of cold. Every now and then it will rain. I don't know. I know Florida's a swamp climate. It's a little more tropical, but I don't know. As I age, I'm like 34, and I'm like, where do I want to be 45? You know, do I want to be 45 in LA? Maybe if I really hit it out of the park and we start making crazy money. But even then, it's like, I don't know. There's something nice about Florida.
What's the big con of Florida? Just the hurricane season? That's it?
The people. The people. The people are the negative. The others. The people. You know?
The pedophile parks and all that.
That's pretty isolated. I think that the weather there, you run into issues too, because hot and swampy. But you just look at you look at the amount of money you pay. I don't know. I just think it could be the move. I'm going to get a bunch of messages from people that are like, they love Florida. You know?
Yeah.
There's just something nice about going out to dinner at 3:30 p.m. Something nice. Something nice about it. Going there into the backwoods. You'd have to go somewhere where you could build a nice big house or buy a house or an apartment. It would be inexpensive. I have no interest in spending a lot of money down there. So I'd want to go somewhere I'd be somewhat isolated. I have to isolate myself. And I'd have to, I wouldn't want to be too isolated ever, but I could probably go 20 minutes, 30 minutes out of a city and find something that's inexpensive and just much better to live. No, but I mean, like, is there a doc? There's no doc. Nobody's done a doc because you can't shoot in there, right?
Right.
The Florida Project, which was a phenomenal movie, which got no Emmys, it was ignored because it was about poor whites. I hate to say it. That's really what it was. And that's the reality. And I don't consider those people white, number one, and neither does any white person. Like, no one, like, and I don't mean, and I'm not saying what, like when that girl who did a great job, whatever her name is, I forget, Bria Vinite or something, phenomenal. She was barely an actress. They cast her on Instagram. They gave her some acting lessons, and she fucking knocked it out of the park. And that little girl, I think her name was Brooklyn, whatever. She was great too. But like, she's living in a hotel in Florida, a motel that really exists. And the Florida Project actually used some of the real people that live in the motel. I mean, hopefully they paid them. Probably not. Hey, can we just put a camera in front of your horror? Do you mind that? But it was a great thing, but it didn't tackle sexuality. It didn't tackle race. It didn't tackle, it was just a poor white chick who's like, you know how I be doing. So it's like, again, this ain't Bush white. It ain't country club white. This isn't Scandinavian Nordic white eating salmon gravlax. This is fucking, how you doing? Like, that person doesn't want to be white that was in the Florida part. Like, but it was a great movie. But at the end of it, they shot in Disney World, but they shot it on a phone secretively. Remember that?
Right. Yeah. I remember you showing me some, what was it, The Florida Man? Some doc called the
Yeah,
Florida.
I think it was called Florida. Well, that's a great doc about Florida.
Yeah.
I just wonder, and I could be wrong. There could be a book about this. Somebody can hit me up. There doesn't seem to be any, like, let's pull back the veil on Disney World, because there's got to be shit going on.
Yeah.
I think one of the heiresses or somebody recent, like one of the family, I could be wrong on this, maybe look this up, was kind of alarmed that the people at the park weren't making enough money. She was kind of like, I'm kind of shocked that they're not making money. I'm pretty sure this was Disney World. Because you know that there's issues in a place like Disney World. And I mean, there's got to be. And yeah, this happened, right?
Yeah. It's loading right now.
Yeah.
So it's the Harris to Disney. Disney Harris says she's livid about Disneyland wages and working conditions.
Right.
She's the granddaughter of Walt Disney Company, Abigail Disney.
She's the next person they're going to hang in It's a Small World. She'll be the next. She's already at Pirates of the Caribbean. She's already been thrown into the lake. Okay? Well, so what I'm saying is there's got to be a doc to be made, but you probably figure if I make it, I don't work again.
Right.
And don't fucking I ain't making that shit. I ain't making that. Now, I don't have the money to make it, but if I did have the money to make it, I wouldn't, because I think I have a long future with Disney. He's like, sports has all the drama you need. He goes, all the drama you need is in sports. Nothing can compete with sports. Okay. Nothing, not a novel, nothing. Nothing can compete with a playoff game. That's it. And I'm not knocking sports. I get how engrossing sports is, and for fucking great reason. But come on. So those are my experiences personally with Disney World. So I had a couple on my tour bus once, because I was a tour guide in New York City. And they got on and they had Disney shirts on. And it's very interesting when you meet people who, they don't only enjoy Disney World, it's their brand. It's who they are as people. And when you're older, you should realize that, oh, that's not Goofy. That's a person who's dying in 100-degree weather in a suit with probably a rash that is now bleeding. And they're not being paid well. They probably don't have health insurance. They're about to pass out. That's best case. Worst case, they're fucking a pedophile copping feels all day. You know there's a few of them in there that are like, look at me. I got it. So, by the way, that would be great. How many people have been asked to leave Disney because of those issues? Where's that? Where's that article?